About ready, Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Let's call our meeting to order. Open the meeting, declare that we do have a quorum. I think we're all here but one. You had time to look at the minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion not to accept the minutes.
I hear you say I had a motion not to accept the minutes.
Yes.
Okay. I have a motion not to accept the minutes. If you look at
Why not?
this copy
He needs to tell us
and
why.
look at the one that was taken the night was here, it's not the same.
If you'll look at what I wrote during the meeting and what Amy typed up, I guess to suit herself, they don't match what was turned in. Number one.
The other miscellaneous county departments.
That was never discussed.
Well, I'm looking at both of them, they do not correspond.
Well, I think we can,
Can we just mark those there?
no, we just approve the handwritten one.
Huh?
I gotta dispose of this motion first.
Understand?
Now here's a second.
I'll second it.
Now you understand what I'm saying? We're voting not to accept the minutes,
The
They're
typed
typed.
up, the typed up.
the type minutes.
Okay.
Any other discussion on it? Now have a second. All in favor of not accepting the ones typed up, let it be known, saying aye. Now, that brings us back to the ones that were handwritten.
I make a motion to accept the handwritten minutes
We have
as
a
the
motion
official
to
minutes of this last meeting.
I have a motion by Dwight to accept the minutes that were handwritten, a second by Commissioner Nunn. Any discussion on this? All in favor say aye. Handwritten stands approved. All right, we've reviewed the minutes. Commission agenda, see below. We've got several appointments, looks like. Agricultural Committee for even years appointment, Alexandra Hicks, Gary Clarity, and Linda Carey, all two-year terms. Anybody object, we'll discuss it or whatever.
These are my class, I believe.
They willing to accept,
Pardon?
they willing to accept the new terms on it, I mean,
They're already on.
I guess you've
I know
talked to
they already
them,
on
Mayor.
it, they,
They're all.
You have talked to them?
This came from the Ag Extension staff.
Oh, it comes from Ag and Leb, surely he's talked to them.
Yeah.
I would entertain a motion to approve them then. Commissioner Gregory makes a motion,
Second.
Commissioner Nonler makes a second to approve Alexandra Hicks, Gary Clarity, and Linda Carey for two-year terms. All in favor say aye.
Yeah.
So moved. And we got an ethics board, one-year term. Do you have anybody on that? It's,
Yeah, we appointed this last year, and we're just, so far out, there's 5 members, and 3 of them have said they'd like to be reappointed. I'm still waiting to hear back from 2 other ones.
okay, so we're just gonna put that off, or you think you'll have it ready by term of
Oh, I'll
court?
have it. There's nothing for you all to vote on. This is just letting you know. So
It's the ethics committee.
we will have it. Like I said, I've already talked to 3 of them, and they said yes, and the other 2, I'll suspect I'll hear from by then. We'll have that
So
by,
we just approve that at county court, really?
yeah.
We don't have to approve it here.
No.
Miss,
Who are they?
Who are the current
It's Linda Sue Johnson, Richard Harsh, Landon Goley, Frida Cornwell, and Rita Crowder.
Okay.
Them like,
Ethics Board, 1-year terms. We won't discuss that any further tonight.
So they will all be reappointments unless they say they don't want to be.
Yeah, unless they say they don't want to be reappointed,
Right.
then I'll find somebody else. But I think the makeup of the commission, you had so many that have to be commissioners, one of them has to be on a county official, which is Rita, and then you had a citizen appointment, which Frida Cornwell agreed to serve, so.
All right, we'll go on to the beer board, Ms. Rhonda Kiesling.
They only meet, if there's not an ethics complaint filed, there's no reason for them to meet. I'm sorry, sir.
It's okay. Beer board, Ms. Rhonda Kiesling for a 4-year term.
It's a reappointment.
Do we even need to vote on that here?
No.
No.
I don't think we
And I
do.
did talk to her, she did say that she wanted to be
She
reappointed, so.
would do it. Good. Industrial development, you gotta have 2 there.
Yeah, one of them was Teresa Carmen, she resigned, so you're actually doing 2 appointments for that one. We'll do one to finish out her term, and then have to appoint somebody to succeed her for the next term. And then the other one, Betty Sue Hibden's term was up on December 31st. I did speak to her, and she said she would not like to be reappointed, so, and I spoke to her earlier today, so I don't have a name on that. I just spoke to her, I think I told Mr. Clary, or Mr. Gregory about 6 hours ago, so I don't have a name for that one yet. On the other one,
You don't have either one of the 2?
well, one of them I'm gonna nominate Scott Graves.
Yeah.
The other one, I don't, like I said, I just spoke to her 6 hours ago, so I don't know.
Very good.
And there is possibility of one more appointment that may be made, I'm not sure. There is a housing authority seat that comes up on January 22nd. Now, the next county commission meeting, since you don't meet in December, will be January 27th, so there'll be
Right.
5 days overlap, but
Right.
that's not a big deal. She would serve as a holdover officer. It's my understanding, there's the Kim Satterfield's talking to some of the tenants to see, I don't think that person, I think they actually moved out 2 weeks ago. They were a tenant representative,
Yeah.
so I think they moved out like a week or 2 ago, and so they need to find someone else to do that. She's gonna
That
get them.
board, you have to have one tenant representative on that board, and they come and they go. It's almost an annual thing that
Right.
we have to appoint somebody new on
I got,
Yes.
on that industrial board, I've had somebody contacted me that's interested in being on it. I think he went and talked to the mayor too. And I think he would be a good one. I don't know if we need to mention his
talking
name. Jeff Gregory.
Conflict of interest, huh?
And I'm just saying he was interested in being on it.
Well, you can't be if you got a conflict of interest.
I didn't know it was a conflict of interest. I just know he contacted me about being interested in it.
Well, that's the first thing I'd say about it. That's just, if he ain't a conflict of interest, he never would be. And I ain't got a thing in the world against him, but it's just the way it is. I mean, that's his call
I just thought, I
anyway.
mean, that's the reason I
No,
don't know
that
about
would be
it.
my first thought as well, as a conflict of interest. And this position, to be honest with you, in the past, it has been stressed to myself through economic development and Tennessee Central that we need to have some financial people on these boards for the industrial development board. And that's not specific to Trousdale County. They're saying everybody needs to have some financial people. And we've got one representative from Wilson Bank and Trust. Now we don't have one from Citizens Bank. So if I don't appoint somebody from Citizens Bank, am I showing favoritism to Wilson Bank and Trust? So it kind of,
Well, you got anybody in mind that would accept it though? You
I would
gotta
have
have
to
somebody
say-
accept it or that totally
well, I
releases
at
you.
least have to make the offer to them. If they don't accept, then,
That's right. Then it's their problem, that's
right, then
yours.
it's, we can go out to other ones. But
Robert Thurman wouldn't be on that, wouldn't want to do that, I don't guess. Maybe he's not want to do that. There can be a.
like I said, I'm gonna reach out to them and see if they've got somebody that would be willing to serve. If not, I reached out to them and they said no, so.
Well, that's their decision. I wouldn't worry about it. All right, so we're talking about at least one for industrial board, maybe 2. Going to the next item, resolutions with committee appointments for commissioners.
I hope to have those lists ready and complete by the work session was what I was shooting
This
for.
month.
On the committee appointments, I told we're planning to have it on this month's agenda, was why we put it on this. I
Our
received
work
back,
session,
yeah, I received I worked on them today. I met with the county attorney to look at some of them as to, whether law says how they have to be constructed, and, we found some things in times past, that how the makeup should be, who should be, and how the representation should be. We're wanting to make sure that we've got all those things covered, and that was it. I received, I think 17 out of 20 responses back from the commission members on the survey I sent out, asking them which ones they wanted to serve on. Very little change. Most people wanted to serve on what they have been on, or said they wanted to continue on that. So I'm
Well,
just going back through those things and the questions that I posed. I'm compiling those answers so that I'll give you a sheet that says, this question, these, not who said what, but these were the things that were said in response on it. And I'll try to have that all ready by the work session. That's my goal. And that's what I
so
can
you
make.
wanna wait till January to elect chairmans and vice chairmans?
Well, I think once we
secretaries?
make that,
You have to if you don't do it in the limb.
well, if we make that, if we approve it this month, then that, if the committees wanted to meet in December, then go ahead and elect new chairman. They
You say if
could.
they want to,
Right, sure.
ain't many of them gonna want to.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying they could. It gives them a period of time, a longer period of time.
And I've got 3 quarterly units that will meet in January, so that's when I would think I'd have to do that. I don't wanna call a special, committee together just to elect chairman and vice chairman and secretary.
That's not what I said. I
I
said
know,
if they
I understand.
wanted to meet,
I understood you,
in your case, on those quarterly ones, you would just wait till that,
yeah.
until January.
But
Not to
usually,
say you have to, it's just said if they could, or some of them may be meeting, we do have
they have a
meetings
meeting,
in
they need
December.
a meeting, yeah.
Yeah, so, we're not sure, we won't have to have a commission meeting. We don't have one scheduled at this time, we're gonna
Right.
try not to, but
Well, we probably won't have an executive committee meeting either, will we, Mayor, at this point?
That's
No.
up to you.
Well, if we don't have anything coming up, if we didn't work
I
on it.
was going off the
And I'm gonna
assumption
lean
that,
on you more than that than,
I'm going off the assumption that it's gonna go like last year, we didn't have one,
right.
a county commission meeting in December. It's my understanding that's
Right.
been the practice. However, if something special comes up, there could be one
Right.
called.
Something comes up, then.
All right, that's why I was trying to get some of these appointments, and that's why I wanted to make you aware of the housing authority. If I get a name by the county commission meeting
Sure.
this month, I wanna go ahead and make that appointment. But if I don't, I'll just do it in January.
that's why I'm trying to get these out this month, is not so that they can meet as a special meeting in December, but if we don't give them out till the end of January, then it's gonna be February before they can meet and do
That's
them.
true,
So that's, whether they meet in December, meet in January, that's up to those committees.
right.
And if whoever the current officers for that committee are reappointed to those committees, they'll still serve as holdover officers until you
Yeah,
meet and
Until it's,
Right.
do a reorganization. So it's not like it doesn't
Reorganize.
have officers, it'll just be, they'll continue on until their reelection. Or,
ordinances, establish a charter commission.
yes, sir, and this, and I'm gonna go ahead and apologize up front, and this comes down to my not thinking about it. The ordinance have to be approved at 2 separate readings, and the charter says it has to be at 2 separate meetings. So what I should have done is asked for you to approve it last month, at least the ordinance, not the membership, just the ordinance.
Yeah,
And then we could have done the second reading this month. So what we'll have to do is do the first reading this month, and then the second reading probably in January, and then approve the members. Now, I'm still gonna try to go ahead and have the names this month, so you'll know who they're gonna be. But it can't really take effect until January.
I wanna go back and, explain to the why. I don't know if you talked with Wesley Roberson this past week or not, but the mayor and I did, and he said as far as the committee on purchase and oversight, the way I understood it, correct me if I'm wrong, we could probably do it any way we want to do. That was basically what I got from him. Well, how did you feel? What did you think he was saying?
I think he said as long as you know, don't correct me, I was paying attention to 2 or 3 different things at the same time. But I think he said as long as you had the responsibility
Designated.
Delegated.
designated. So it'd be like budget, finance, and purchasing oversight committee.
Right.
Well,
No.
my intention is to make purchasing oversight a part of the duties of the Budget and Finance Committee. And it's with a note that it meets quarterly for purchasing review.
Just
And
do
as
it
long
once.
as that's part of that committee, it's almost like it's a subcommittee of the committee, and it can even be set up as a subcommittee of the committee.
Well, it'll take anywhere from 15 to 25 minutes to handle that. So budget and finance usually runs pretty close to the time anyway, so we may go over some on that.
Well, if
But
we
that's all
know,
right, this is 4 times or 3 times a year.
well, if
4
we
times.
know that it's gonna be on there, instead of scheduling a meeting at 7 o'clock to 8, schedule it for 6:30 to 8, allow an
And
hour
we
and a half.
probably will
I mean,
have to do that.
Right. So that, I think the chairman can adjust the amount of time set aside for it, but just trying to reduce the number of some of these, roll them into subcommittees instead of head committees. It's really not gonna do away with anything that's being done. It's just a restructuring and reorganization of it that better aligns with the purpose. Some are committees of the government, some are committees of the commission. And we've kind of blended that, and we're gonna try to separate that a little bit, make it a little clearer what the responsibilities of those committees.
Well, that was my concern about it, because the charter plainly calls for
Right.
that, but now, the way I understood Brandon, he really felt like we could do it any way we wanted to.
And
And
we,
that's basically what Wesley said about it too.
you know, we've looked at it. I met with Brandon 2 hours, and a lot of the conversation was about this and some of this restructuring. So, and it's gonna be up to the body to approve it. If we get up there and here's the list that I'm proposing, if you don't like it, you don't have to approve it. We'll go back to the drawing board. It's that simple.
But doesn't the charter say that it has to be 5 people on that purchasing oversight?
That's what the charter said.
A lot of them, yes, that's what I'm saying, dictated by the charter, dictated by state law, dictated by ordinances, and we wanted to absolutely make sure that the makeup was the way it was supposed to be.
Well, it's
Not saying that
basically-
anything is wrong, I haven't found anything that's wrong yet. It's just,
Probably what my question is, you're gonna keep budget and finance, probably the same number of people, and you're adding 5 more, or you taking?
The way I understood it, no. It will become part of the budget and finance.
But I mean-
Whether those same 5 do it or not, I don't know.
I mean, what I'm asking is you're adding 5 more people to budget and finance?
does it say it has to be 5 or no less than 5?
It says
It says
5.
shall be 5.
It
Charter
shall be
says 5.
It says 5, like the charter.
Then it will be a subcommittee of that committee. That committee, Budget and Finance, will elect 5 people to be on Purchasing Oversight Committee. That committee will elect that committee.
We've actually got 6 now. I'm just looking at it right here.
Or Budget and Finance will consist of 5 people.
I'm believing that budget and finance has got several more. I'm trying to see how many is on it. I'm on it, Mr. Harshay, Dwight, you are not on purchase and oversight. Gary is not on purchase and oversight. Bill Ferguson is not. Gregory is not. Gary Walsh is not. Yes, he is, I'm sorry. Linda Johnson is 3 of the existing purchase and oversight people are on the budget and finance. As of right now.
And we can keep it separate.
Hey, I don't care. I'm either way you go, it satisfies me because, I told you I thought we should run it by him test. Well, I talked to the mayor and I talked to Wesley and he said, well, I tell you what my lawyer tell you.
I was on it.
We're gonna do what you want to.
Ain't done it now.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
the
Well, I
charter
understand.
specifies 5 people, but does it specify if 5 people are charged with that, or does it have to be its own standalone committee?
It doesn't say standalone, it just says there will be a committee that has oversight of purchasing that shall consist of 5 members. It doesn't say it has to be standalone or, it's just all.
My
And I think that's where
I can tell you what it says.
the interpretation was that it could be the responsibility of a committee that has other responsibilities, just as long as they do the purchasing oversight part. And I think they have to meet quarterly.
I can find it. I don't know if I'm going the right direction or not.
I don't think there's really no reason to change.
This should be a
It's gonna the
four-
same thing. Leave it just like
No,
it
I'm
is.
sorry, that's a different one.
You know that, ain't
I'm not now.
you?
It just looks like it,
I've read it
the
several
duties
times.
of it fall under budget and finance. You're looking at that, and that was the only reasoning for trying to see if some could be combined. Jerry tried to combine some. This is not something that I've just embarked on.
No, I
We
don't have
haven't
a
looked at
problem with
for a
it,
while.
really. We tried to cut some in order to try to save the county a little money. Well, I can't put my hands on it right now, but I know I've done looked over it probably.
I read it in the charter today.
I've read it several times.
Like I say, I'm not approving it, it's a work in progress. May not change it.
Okay,
Y'all don't like change.
no budget amendments at this time, however, we do have the EMS director's vehicle still pending in the budget and finance for $38,000. Mayor, did you have a chance to look up to see if we in fact, I think we do, have a resolution that all vehicles have to be marked? Have county,
Well, they did look at a vehicle use policy in 2005, but it never passed.
It
The only
didn't
vehicle
pass
use
it?
policy that was actually ever passed was by Trousdale County in 1989. And it's
Okay.
very, very bare bones.
okay.
So as
I
far
was
as
thinking
fees,
we had one more recent than that. Gary, I know you were too. Maybe it never was passed. I don't
well,
know.
it never got passed by the county commission. So even if it was passed by a committee, it doesn't become active.
It came
unless it's passed
through
by the
a
county
committee,
commission.
I don't know which one. But
But
if
that
it's
is-
not there, it ain't there, so
Well-
then we're back to square one with it.
Well, this second year, one of the things you're gonna see as we go forward is a lot more policy proposals coming from my office, because we've
Yeah,
gone through the process, and one of the things I'm gonna propose is that we consider a vehicle use policy that I think will address some of those issues that have come up.
well, my opinion on it, if it's a county vehicle, especially in his position, him going out here and there and everywhere and driving up to a problem, the vehicle ought to have identification on it. It should state Trousdale County EMS or whatever. I know he don't want that, but what if he pulls up out there and Joe Blow don't know who in the heck he is? He don't have nothing on him to identify
It
him.
becomes an issue.
It could become a big issue. It could wind up in a lawsuit.
And that is addressed in the other counties' vehicle use policies we've been looking at. Now, there are some provisions we'll have to change specifically for us to match our travel policy and whatnot. But that is specifically addressed in all the ones I've seen about marking other county vehicles, who can be in the vehicles, and all those things.
David, I
should be
think this
addressed.
got sent back to your committee, did it not?
No, it went back to budget and finance.
Went back to budget and finance?
Yeah.
Okay,
I checked on that the other day.
okay. well, good.
Because I was about
I
to
knew it
call
got
it.
sent back to one of them.
Yeah, I was about to call a meeting because I thought it was sent back to me.
Yeah.
I talked to the mayor and then we
Well, I
decided.
think one of the things we really wanted to make sure of was if we had a resolution in place that says, yeah, it's got to be marked, or personally, I think it should. Maybe that's a resolution we need to think about, Mayor, I don't know.
Well, can't we send that to a committee and have it done?
Mr. D. White.
I got an email from Matthew Beatty yesterday. Says, I understand there's some questions about my budget amendment for the new truck. Do you have an idea of what the questions might be? I'd like to have an answer for them in the next meeting. And I responded to him, I will look into this and get back to you, because I wanted to look over the minutes and see what the minutes reflected
Right.
before I answered him. I haven't answered him. The issues I remember was the markings. There was also the issue of the color. There was the issue of whether it was two-wheel drive or four-wheel
That's right.
drive.
That's right.
And Am I missing anything?
That's the only three I
And I
remember.
think that's.
That's
I
it.
I think you pretty well covered it right there.
Everybody wanted it to be four-wheel drive.
Yeah.
And
Well,
Well, he didn't ask for four-wheel drive. I believe Dwight was the one who made the comment that he might very well need it, so.
Well,
If
it's
you
an
don't need it till
emergency
you need it, then
vehicle.
you ain't got it, so
You
you
got your
don't.
emergency director, you got a snowstorm, ice storm, he's gonna be running around out here in a two-wheel drive truck. They got a wreck that's down a hillside that you gotta pull off the road to.
That's
It
right.
makes no sense if he is emergency and this is being used for something other than him just to drive around from home to the office, then it needs to be four-wheel drive.
An emergency vehicle, I'm gonna agree with you, should be a four-wheel drive vehicle, because you're gonna be going all kind of terrain, all kind of weather, and it's very necessary. I have to
I
agree with
could
you.
have sworn that night.
It's not that I wanna
I
spend more
could've
money,
sworn that
it's
night
just
when
that
he said
it's
four-wheel
prudent.
Let's talk about a couple more things. I don't see nothing else on our agenda.
I've got one thing I've gotta bring up too before we leave.
Have you heard anything on Streetscape? November 1st is come and gone.
Well, that was the contract start date. That was the actual start of the project. So,
Right. But they ain't showed up.
well, they show up. Like I said, the actual contract start date and their 150 days started November 1st.
Is there a penalty if they don't get finished?
I would have to look through it. I imagine there, and usually in those contracts, there is some kind of, if you go over, there is a penalty provision in it. I'd imagine there is. It's about this thick.
Who's actually got the contract?
It's called Sessions Paving out of Kentucky. I don't remember the exact, it's somewhere near the
Sessions
Tennessee border,
Paving?
isn't it, Mr. Joe? I can't remember the exact town it's from.
That was Bowling Green, was it Bowling Green?
I don't remember. I know it's somewhere near the Tennessee border, but I don't remember exactly. They've done other projects here in Tennessee. They do Tennessee and Kentucky.
We had a pre-con meeting with them and went over a lot of the details of what they were doing, and they know their time schedule for sure, and they're aware of it. I think you will see them
When they start, they'll
starting pretty
they'll
quick.
start.
Yeah, we'll go harder at it.
Yeah, when they start, they'll start.
What about the landfill, Mayor? You got any kind of follow-up on that?
The construction has started on that. It actually started, I think, a week and a half ago. And they've already cleared trees, and right now they're currently doing the grading and everything, repairing the ditches, and they're also going to be improving the road, the access road into the site. So that's where they are currently. I think they're waiting for some of their bigger equipment to get done with the job, and I think it's in Alabama, and then they're going to bring it up here. Their soil that they're using is actually coming from the hill next to this one.
Really?
So they're not, my understanding is, what I've been told, is they may not even have to have any dump trucks, they're just gonna scoop it off and dump it
That's
on
great.
this one.
Well, they got one of those things they pull and fill it up and take it over there, an earth mover deal?
I'm sure they've
That's what
got,
it sounds like.
yeah, I'm
Pick
sure
it
they've
up this
got,
place and take it over and distribute it in the other. Then they
Yeah.
probably have dozers to kind of clean up. That's a good thing. What'd you have, Mr. DeWitt?
I had a proposed ordinance handed to me at the meeting last Monday night from Commissioner Buckmaster, and this comes from, I'm not sure exactly who. He said EMS had looked it over, and the fire department and ambulance service was in favor of it. And it's an ordinance to, it's titled Trousdale County Address Number Display Ordinance. It says an ordinance to provide for the establishment, control, and regulation of address numbering display within Trousdale County, to provide for penalties for the violation of the ordinance, and to repeal any metropolitan ordinance or parts of metropolitan ordinance in direct conflict herewith. And it's basically, the purpose is to have a system of addresses on all premises so that they can all be identified. So if EMS or an ambulance rolls up to a house, they see an address. And it goes into what an address number is, what size it has to be, 4 inches, and contrasting colors, either on the mailbox or posted at the entrance to the property. And I mean, it's very inclusive, very well written. What I would like for us to do is to defer it to the Codes and Zoning Committee for their look at and recommendation to it. I have had brief discussions with Councilor Beller about it, and my only reservations were, his reservations, was there are penalties, but it, like so many things, we pass these laws and we don't really look at who's gonna enforce it and how's it gonna be enforced. What good does it do you to do it if you're not gonna? And it spells out, any person, firm, or corporation violating provisions of this ordinance shall be guilty of a civil offense subject to a fine or fee of not more than $25 as determined by the Court of General Sessions. Or, in the case of new construction, such fee shall be at the discretion of the building and zoning inspector as directed by the Codes Commission. So
what in essence is he saying is a lot of places out there that don't have addresses?
absolutely. Or they don't display them, they don't put them on the building.
Okay.
They may have a mailbox sitting here at the road, but the house 50, 75 yards off.
And a lot of the mailboxes don't have them.
No,
No, but
Or they're a little bitty number about this big that you can't see or whatnot. So it is just to try to enhance the ability of emergency responders to find an address. It's good intent. I'm just concerned at this point about the enforcement of it.
Right. David?
I don't remember that coming in front of me, like me. I don't remember. I might have a senior moment here, but I don't remember us discussing that.
My thing right
It's not in
now
none of my minutes, I know.
for the executive committee is to decide who needs to look at this. Does law enforcement, does codes and zoning, where does it need to go? And that was why,
That's why you bring it up.
right. That's the purpose of this committee as much as anything, is to determine what committees need to look at these proposals. Am I
I'm
correct? in
kinda
that?
like you, the problem I see with it is enforcement.
Well, and I'm sure it could be, that could be spelled out, but I'm saying what committee needs to look at it?
What does the 911 board do? That not have nothing to do with it?
That's what I was thinking about
Well, there's
too.
mention of that in here. And I'm sorry I didn't have copies for you.
Sorry.
If no street, road name, public, private shall be modified, added without approval of the Trousdale County 911 Governing Board and without the affirmation of Trousdale County Commission, adopted by Trousdale County Road Commission, says that the 911 is the governing board of the signing numbers. I mean, it's very thorough, and it says if the number's on the mailbox, it's not on the mailbox, it has to be on a post. If they're sharing a driveway, if they both have to be marked. It's just an attempt to get people to mark their mailboxes and
To mark their territory.
so they can find them. And I've been a mail carrier, you're a mail carrier. You know how it is when you pull up the house and it's a mailbox and you get this 3 pieces of mail in front of you, and which box is this? And you have that blank moment of who lives here. I mean, and there's no number on the mailbox.
No
I
name,
mean,
no number.
and I can't even fathom how these emergency responders find some of these houses.
Well, I can understand
I
that.
mean, you're out there at night trying to find a house and all you've got's an address. And there's nothing indicating what the address is. That's
I've
the
heard them talk
problem.
about they have to go up the street and find the house that does have numbers on it, and then figure it out, and count them on the way down, till they get to the one they think is supposed to be the one they go to.
I think it's a great idea. I think it has need. I think it has merit. My only hole that I saw in it was who is going to enforce it. Because I can guarantee you our sheriff is not going to enforce it. The 911 board has no enforcement
They have the authority
capability.
to do it.
So, are we gonna put something else on our building inspector that's already overloaded with everything to try to enforce? I mean, he's already enforcing it on new construction.
Mhm.
But this is not just talking about new construction, this is talking about existing construction as well.
There's a lot of people like me get their mail at the post office. I had never even thought about putting up my address at my house, and that's a good example of it right there.
Yeah, but we changed the road name a year and a half ago down on Crook Lane. That sign's not been put up yet.
Have you said anything to Bill Scruggs about it? Like last time you brought it up, I suggested that's what you do.
Good luck.
That's what I'm saying. Who's supposed to be responsible for doing this stuff?
Bill Scruggs.
If
Bill
we,
Scruggs is one supposed to.
if we pass it and it takes 1.5 years, 2 years to get somebody to do something, somebody else ought to take over and do it right.
Well, if it's been overlooked and no one has made him aware of it,
He should be aware if it's been passed and it's handed to him to order this road sign, why hadn't he put it up, got it and put it up? That's not overlooking, that's neglect to me.
I don't know. I
I've
haven't
talked
talked
to
to him about it. When you brought it up before, it was suggested that you ask him.
You can't get an answer out of Bill on nothing, he has to refer to somebody else.
I asked him to do a couple things, it's been 2 years ago. He said, that's on my to-do list. And neither one of them been done
Well,
yet.
you have a road commission that meets monthly, that has a meeting coming up next week, week after
I
next.
think it's 2 weeks.
Bring it to their attention, show up at that meeting.
I'll give you 2 items if you want them there.
It was on the 20th, so it's
He
2
told me
weeks.
it was on his,
Well, if there's
on his
issues
to-do
that need to be
list.
addressed, then you don't tell me, I don't know.
well, one of them's down here at Second Creek. As you cross the creek down there, that railing going around through there, a car hit that probably 3 years ago, and it's still bent way over. Another car comes in there, it ain't gonna stop them. The car's
that-
gonna go in the lake.
Is that if you turn on to, is it Old
Right
Road?
there, Oldham Road.
Right past,
Where Oldham Road dives
Okay, where
into it.
you go off in that little swampy looking
Yeah.
area.
That's right.
Right.
It saved one car from going in, but the next one it won't save.
It's been like it 7-8 years.
I know it had. I asked Bill 2 years ago, he said, it's on my to-do list. I said, okay, and I mentioned to him again, he still hadn't done it. Well, same thing up here on Gravelly Hill.
That concrete was
He's,
supposed to be put up.
he's
a year
getting
ago.
engineering, it's taken a year to get engineering on putting that, wall up there. I give him an idea the other day, I said, go somewhere and find some of these concrete things that they use for barriers and put them down through there. It'd be better than nothing.
You buy them from Garrett Brothers.
That's where it is.
He got one price from,
But it hadn't been done.
that boy poured all these walls around here. I think he said it was 38,000, but he had to get it engineered. And that was cheaper than what it was gonna cost to put the rail
I
up
think they
there.
all, I think they'll say they all for it.
If there's projects out in your all's area that needs to be done, please let me know. And I
There's
actually
one on
talked,
Freer's Bend too, that I contacted him about. Because the family's, what it is it's right down there at the end, and when the bus comes through there, they can't see over that hump. Well, there's some power lines right there. So what the neighbors, the people that live there, have asked Mr. Lynn and Mr. Reed, they said that if they would just cut the trees down out from the power lines, that they have the equipment to cover it, take care of it and smooth it out where you can see it's on their land, so they're willing to take care of it. They just need the trees topped out of the power lines, just because they don't need
if
to.
it's in amongst the power lines, that's gonna have to be Tri-County, the highway department can't do it.
Well, I'm saying it's power lines, I'm assuming that's what it is. I don't know if it's the power lines, I just know there's some lines right there. It could be telephone as far as that goes, but they're willing to do the work, they just need those trees topped, and they've got the equipment to clear off that little mound where when the bus is dropping off, you can see there's like a little blind spot right there. So they can see that if they're with a tractor trailer or whatever coming through there, they can get through there or know to stop they can see the bus before they're up on it.
Okay. Well, if you could give me, I guess, the closest address to where this is.
I'll drive down there. I don't remember the address off the top of my head. Well, it's it's Reed Henley's. It's the Henleys and Mr. Lynn.
I know the one up on Gravelly, he's been looking at that 3-4 years at least. And last time I asked him about it several months ago, I'm getting it engineered. Well, he went ahead and got a price on it, whether he got it engineered or not, I don't know. But I suggested to him, just go out here and find some of these portable walls, put them up there and put something behind it before somebody goes off in there, you take a school bus ever goes off in there, you got a bunch of dead kids. It's bad.
You want to add something to your list, there's 2 posts missing at the bridge at Bob Hollins where they've been cut out. Been like that for 7-8 months now.
Got anything? Come on, get him some more. We'll load him
I
up.
would
It
ask
has to
the
do
DCC
this loading.
emails for
I
all
don't get
this,
out
because
right
what I'll
around
do
the
is I'll
county
print them
roads.
out and take them with me.
But I can't get him to do nothing. I can't.
This needs to go to zoning, building and zoning. Is that what we decided? I want to make sure.
Well, we didn't decide, but is that where you want it to go?
I think so.
Well, he's chairman of law enforcement. He doesn't
No.
think it needs to go to law.
No,
You
no,
chairman of law enforcement.
I'm EMS.
I'm EMS, that's emergency services. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Emergency services.
yeah.
I didn't see a need for it to go to law enforcement.
You chairman of that, aren't you?
Yeah, but that's what I say, I didn't see a need for it to go to law enforcement. To me, zoning and codes is where it needed to
Yeah,
go
I
to.
agree with you.
Well, that's kind of putting it back in Sam's pocket too.
Well, maybe.
I'm
It's
with
gonna be
you. I
on- it's
think
gonna
it's a
be
great
on-
thing, but
Ain't nobody.
I don't know how you gonna police it.
Hey, I mean,
That's my
I'd be the
concern.
closest one, be Sam, but I don't want the closest probably I can see.
Well, it does no good to pass something if you don't have it.
Just to put it on the record ain't worth a hoot. You're not
Unless you
going,
want, unless you want to appoint somebody separate to enforce it.
yeah, there you go again. That's always a possibility, but how can you afford to pay somebody to do that when it probably ain't gonna bring in enough to pay his salary?
I'll be going looking at every mailbox in Trout County.
Let me say, I didn't author this. I didn't bring this forward. I was asked as the chairman to bring
Hey,
it.
I don't have a problem with it, but I'm like you, when you put the penalty down there, that's where your problem's gonna be. Who's gonna come down and say, go ahead, Mayor?
Did you make a motion to put it in planning and codes and zoning, or is that- do we need to do that?
I didn't make
The only
the
question
motion.
I've got is there a timeline of, I guess, an effective date so that people have basically a period of time to.
Yes, I think it said it would take effect until 180 days.
That's what I'm
180 days.
But what it needs is a bunch of advertisement
Right.
up until that time when it's gonna take effect. Give people a chance to, a lot of people do it on their own. I know I will. I never even thought about it.
So this ordinance shall take effect 180 days following publication as required by law.
Even your.
On, and then it gives a date that it would be.
6
That's a
months.
reasonable amount of time.
Yeah.
If it's publicized, a lot of people do it anyway.
And one thing that has been discussed in some of the other committees is actually having a drive through EMS or emergency services to get these numbers for people, and even us providing them. If somebody wants to put their number on their mailbox, we have them so we know what they're getting is the right size, it's approved, they just gotta come get them. And that's one thing that the mayor and I talked about, now where the funding for that's gonna come, that all needs to be discussed too. Now, I wouldn't think it would be that costly to be able to provide that type of thing,
I was
but
actually looking at some of these the other day to put on our mailbox, and I think they were $20. You had the green ones and the blue ones. I prefer the blue ones. I think they stand out more. But I think they
You
were
say we got the
about
number?
$20.
no, I'm saying that that's something that we might even wanna tie into this, is we would provide them for people. All they'd have to do is come by the administration building, codes office, wherever, ambulance service, and pick them up.
Is there a required size on
Yes,
it? What is it?
4 inches, I think it is.
4 inches?
That's what codes specify.
Well, that's the reason why I'm asking what code specify.
But if you look in Sumner County, they sell, the address on about a 3-foot orange reflector that you stick up. Sumner County sells those to the residents.
There's 4 inches in height, 3 inches if reflective material. Block style letters, contrasting color to the background.
So all you really need is just like, in my case, 955, ain't it?
Yeah.
That's all you really need, just
But if
the
you're-
number.
Yeah, you don't put the road name, you just
No.
put
You
the
don't-
number.
You can
You
put it
can
on
put it on
both
the
sides, but
mailbox,
you just
the
need it on the
post.
side that
Mhm.
close
But if you're
enough.
putting that on the mailbox, 4 inches can be pretty good sized letters on that box.
I don't have a mailbox.
But most of the
It's
reflective,
locked
that's,
value.
that's if you got those like metal letters, like house letters,
Yeah,
they're 4 inches. The little reflective stick-on things are 3 inches, typical. But we'll take a look at it, codes and zoning, maybe Thursday night, and it may or may not proceed this month, it may not proceed till
you need
January.
That's
a
fine.
motion
We
to
got plenty
move,
of
take
time.
it to that zones and
I think it would be best to, and
Have a motion by David to send it to codes and zoning, second by Commissioner Gregory. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Mayor, you have anything else you need to bring before us?
I just need to correct something, I was assuming something incorrect. He's talking about the actual mail, but little addresses you stick on mailbox like you can get at Walmart and stuff. So I thought you were talking about one of these.
no.
So that's my, so no, they won't be $20 a piece, they're just whatever you get at Walmart or something
Yeah, they're
like
like 59 cents a letter, so if you
Yeah.
got
'Cause I was
3, you're talking
that.
about.
Gonna look at getting one of these and sticking it on our post, because where we live out the end of the road by ourselves,
somebody
that can allow you to see it further off. So no, they're not
That would
$20 or
work. I'm
something.
just saying, it's,
No, I'm just saying, I'm just letting you know, I was
Yeah.
assumed something incorrect, and I just wanted to correct what I said.
I
They're
had,
not $20 a piece.
Years ago where I live, I got, my mailbox got the little, those 3-inch numbers on it. And then somebody left the thing in the thing, I put by the driveway, right, stick it in order. And I wish they would come out again because mine's been run over a couple times. And but it has 157 on it, but it shows where the driveway is. And it reflects when light hits it, it jumps back. So when they come, the mailbox is back here, the driveway's up here. You know, it
That
kind of,
shows.
you know, it's in between, my mailbox is in between 2 houses and not right in front of mine, or, you know, it just makes it more convenient if you mark the driveway. Have something stuck in the ground and to mark where the driveway is.
most municipalities have something like this. This is not weird, this is good.
It's
I know
not a
that-
bad thing. It
In
really
Murray,
isn't.
and I know in Murray County, they had, if you had any curves, if you had a curve in front of your house, you had to have the numbers painted on the curve in the center. Because, you know, when I was a young man, I went around painting numbers and making money.
Anyone else have anything to bring before the committee? Any member? Hear a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Who seconded? Bubba? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We stand adjourned.
When you're having a little emergency services,